start with the lady. Rene Koneberg, Castro Racing Team, our racer, currently in P3 overall. In P4 is Chen Chongfu from China, Rael is actually from Switzerland. So both of them still have at least a slight chance to win the title. It is possible by points, and I'm sure they have not given up. Next to Rael in the middle is Rene Koneberg. He's the director of Audi Sport Customer Racing Asia. That's the Audi program that also runs the Audi R8 LMS Cup. And next to him is Alex Young, current championship leader. Also clocked the fastest, second fastest time in qualifying this morning. Well done. And I guess Andrew Kuto will also come in a couple of minutes, then I will introduce him. Rene, maybe you start?
Should I say something? Yeah, welcome also from my side. I have to say I'm very, very pleased to be here in the Middle East. This is for us obviously the first time being here. The track and the facilities are exceptional. We started the Audi R8 LMS Cup in China. Out of this, then it grew very, very fast into an Asian-wide activity, and you see it now here. So we started with 16 vehicles on the grid. Now we are having, depending on if everybody is there, then up to 24 vehicles here. We had 20 vehicles, 19 are starting, as you have seen. So the driver field, which is also quite interesting. I'm very, very pleased that Audi Volkswagen Middle East is actually supporting the whole event here, and they entered also with one vehicle. Trevor, thank you very much, and also to our drivers from the Middle East, from the UAE. You see there's a fierce competition. The points are not easy to get. You will hear later a little bit more from our drivers that it's very, very competitive series, and with the activities which we put in the car, like a push-to-pass function, you can see that the driver has to think about how to use and when to use the push-to-pass, so he has to come up with his own strategy, especially on this racetrack here. And you see a lot of maneuvers. You will see also overtaking maneuvers during the race. We also, for this year, and for the next year actually, we announced, or we thought about how to improve the Audi R8 LMS Cup. So what I would like is actually to announce that we are opening up for next year. We will open up actually for teams. What does it mean? That means actually that it's possible that you can bring your own mechanic. So teams could enter with their own mechanic and their own engineers, and this would improve then also the Audi R8 LMS Cup. The second thing which I would like to announce is that actually we will change also the regulations concerning the tires. So in future what we will have is actually we have 2 sets of tires for the qualifying and for race 1 and for race 2. That's also something new which we will put into next year into place. These changes concerning the regulations with the tires, but also with the teams, we discussed internally, and I'm sure the drivers will say maybe also a little bit more about it, especially with the tires. You will see actually that there will be maybe also a strategic part in the future when to use these tires and how to use them. So these are the news. For next year, obviously Middle East, I think as I said, it's a great environment here, and it's very challenging track. A lot of drivers, I see them constantly actually looking at the videos and looking at the data. We have an open data policy, that means everybody can share the data. So especially after qualifying, everybody will be down there now and looking at the data and trying to find actually the extra mile to win the race. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rene. So I'd like to give the word to Alex. Alex, 2 races to go. one title that you really want to have. Qualifying, I think, looked good. Although I guess you wanted to have the P1 position, but time was still good. It was the first time for you on this track this weekend. Talk us a little bit through like how you feel about the track and how you go into round 11 later today.
Okay. First of all, it's a real pleasure to be here. I think Abu Dhabi has made us feel very welcome. UAE has made us feel very welcome, and it is a fantastic circuit. Facility-wise, it's the best in the world as far as I'm concerned. Qualifying didn't quite go to plan. I had some issues on my first lap with traffic, and then on the third lap we had a small mischief problem. Just a small little catch-off, just kind of caught me off guard. So it could have been a bit better, but qualifying today is not as important really as the race. I mean, the first race today is going to be far more important. I mean, Andre is looking very fast indeed, and I'm carrying 60 kilos because I won the last race. So it's going to be almost impossible to win. But I hope to try and still finish on the podium. If I can finish second or third, it puts me in good shape for tomorrow.
Thanks, Alex. For the ones that are new to the Cup, to just briefly explain, we have the weight additions, which means that for the podium drivers from the previous race, they will get extra weight for the next race. That means as Alex won the last race, he gets 60 extra kilo. The second position driver gets 40, and the third position driver 20 kilo for the next race.
Maybe you should also add, because that's part of the element, is that the qualifying was now time for the first race. The fastest time in the first race will be actually your qualifying time for the second race. That means Alex with 60 kilograms, he needs to try to beat, for example, Rene Koneberg, who doesn't have the 60 kilograms, so it will be quite difficult for him to get a very, very fast lap. But we just discussed the strategy, and I think he has a good strategy.
Hopefully. Also, for you, the first time, actually, I think we only have one driver with Adelie Fong, who tested here for Formula 1 a couple of weeks ago, who knows the track, and all the other drivers are new here. Rahel, how do you like the circuit, and what are your expectations for the race, and what is your strategy?
Yes, thanks everybody for being here. First of all, I'm really enjoying as well being in Abu Dhabi on these nice facilities. I can tell you it's a little bit warmer than in Switzerland, so it's really nice. As Alex just said, the track is quite technical. So especially the last sector of the track, the last few corners are really technical. The car has a tendency to break out on the rear axle easily, so you have to keep it under control, which is quite a challenge. And yeah, but I think it's nice. We're going to see a good race. We have some nice overtaking places. We have some corners where we have to do really hard braking. And this is always a challenge with the Cup car. But with the push-to-pass buttons, I think we're going to see an interesting race. And I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I'm in third place right now, 35 points, I think, behind the leader, behind Alex. So I have to start from P6 later on today. So I won't take 100% of the risk, but I will try my best that I can hopefully finish on podium to set a good lap time for tomorrow's race. But I think the pressure is on these two guys, on Alex and on Andre, so on P6 on I can observe the situation a bit more than they can do.
Thanks, Rahel. Frankie, your turn.
Hello everyone, and really glad to be here, and I totally agree with the other two drivers. Here in Abu Dhabi is absolutely amazing circuit, and the facility and also the track itself is very technical, and it's hard for the driver to get everything right. And I must say that I'm not feeling very pleased from the qualified result, and but still the race is very long, and I hope that I can make up some positions in the afternoon. And I'm just looking really to enjoy the race and enjoy the time here.
Thank you. Are there any questions from your side?
That means every driver will go out for 15 minutes, comes in, and then the top 8 will go out again. That means during the qualifying for next year, the driver could actually choose to have one new set during the first qualifying, the first 15 minutes. If he comes further than to the Super Bowl, he could put on the second set of tires. That brings also a strategic element where the driver can think about how he actually plans the usage of the tires best.
Thank you. Another question in the back, gentlemen?
Just one question. The push-to-pass button, is it used only on this race or during all the races before?
The push-to-pass button is used on all the tracks. We developed the system in a way that you can alter the number of push-to-passes. Normally, and this we do depending on the racetrack. So when you have a very long straight, we look at the whole racetrack and then we decide how many push-to-passes you can use. Here, we altered the system. Normally we have 10 seconds. If you push the button for 10 seconds, you have extra power. Here it's actually 15 seconds, depending because of the straight. And the number they can use it is 10 times. So 10 times during qualifying and 10 times during the first race, and then 8 times during the second race. If you look during the qualifying, if you look also at the data, probably you would use for a lap up to 5, maybe you can use, which is sensible, between 3 to 5. That means actually you could have during qualifying 2 fast laps to make it possible actually that you not only have 1 lap, you have 2 laps if you make a small mistake.
And then, sorry, there was another question in the back already. Also good.
Hello. The first question is, how long does the driver have to wait to use the engine boost again? And is Abu Dhabi going to be a fixed stop for this cup? And do you have new stations? You have new countries, new cities? Thank you.
You're welcome. There are actually 3 questions, I think. Oh yeah. So first question is the driver doesn't have to wait, so you can use directly afterwards the push to pass. So if you press it once, it's on for 15 seconds. Then if you press it again, then next 15 seconds are coming. The important part is you have to have the throttle down, so you need to accelerate. It means when the driver comes to a bend, for example, and he gets off the pedal, then obviously he doesn't have the extra power. If we, second question, if we add this to our racing calendar, what we did is obviously the racing calendars decided around about in October. We published already for next year. We wanted to have a look here, actually how Abu Dhabi, how the facilities, how the feeling is, how also our driver like it. At the moment, I have only positive feedback. My feedback is actually fantastic. So we have to look at the calendar. Calendar has been announced already for next year, but let's see. And the third question? Okay. Third question, we are racing the calendar for next year. We are in China. We start in China in Zhuhai. Then we go to Korea. Then we have Taiwan in there as a stop, which is completely new. Then we have Malaysia and Japan. And then we go back to China. This is what has been announced. But as I said, I think it's very nice here.
Okay. More questions?
Related with the push button of the answer. Alex, can you tell us exactly how, the moment you push the button, are you on an acceleration mode or do you plan this ahead? When do you push this button exactly? At which moment?
Yeah, well, it'd be a complete waste to push it in the braking zone.
Now, going out from the braking zone.
Yeah, but I mean, for qualifying, I plan very carefully where to use it. But during the race, we have to be quite fluid. When you press the button, you got 15 seconds. Yeah. So yeah, you got
It comes instantly. It comes.
it instantly comes 50 horsepower, and you got it for 15 seconds. So it's better to use it down the straights. Obviously, we got two massive long straights here, so it's more. You get more bang for your buck, so to speak, if you use it down the straights instead of in the hairpins.
Right.
And become the racing, it's very much a racing tool. You can try and use it earlier on and use it to overtake, but then you might be vulnerable later on to people who have saved it. So in that part I really enjoy it. The strategic part is a lot of fun. Trying to figure out, try and make your competitors use it. You try and save a couple and then use it later.
So it can be a defense element as well.
Yes, you can use it for attack, you can use it for defense.
All right.
Maybe I don't like it so much in qualifying because this year I've just not had a perfect qualifying yet, and it's quite complicated to use it in qualifying because it does kind of upset your flow to just get it just completely right. But in the racing, it's been great. It's added to some really good racing.
Thank you.
You will also see, maybe just quickly, you will also see that we had quite a couple of races where then the deciding factor was actually at the end of the race, because whoever has then a push to pass left, and Rahel knows what I'm talking about, would lose or win every race, or drop a couple of places.
What's the exact relation between this cup, which is, can we call it like the school, then to move to GTs or the endurance races such as the one in Nürburgring, and then to go where you mastered it very perfectly, which is the real Le Mans 24 hours. So it's like a grading process in terms of internal logic and procedure. And what's the bond between what's happening today in the R8 LMS and what's going to happen in the Golf 12 hours?
Indeed, there's a program in place, and we start the program actually with really on the bottom, which is called with the race experience from Audi. Within the race experience, you will be able that you can obtain your race license. And one of the drivers which are here is Steven. He actually went through this program. He did a race experience, obtained his racing license, his C license, and then he started to race. Then you have a level of Formula Master, it's called. It's a program where you have a single-seater, where a lot of youngsters from Asia are racing. And you have actually one person who's also racing here, is Matt Solomon. He comes out of the single-seater from Formula Master. Then the next stage would be in the program that you participate during the Audi R8 LMS Cup. Get a little bit more known about GT racing, how the GT cars are performing. And here, actually the interesting part of the platform is that we have open data. That means all of the data can be shared between all the drivers. So you see a lot that, especially the young drivers, are sitting together with Alex, for example, and looking, okay, where I can really have the extra seconds to improve. Then out of this, we developed another program, which is then we bring actually some of these race drivers, we bring them over to Europe. So they get experience on the Nürburgring, for example. So for next year, we will start a vehicle which is running on 24 hours on the Nürburgring. And obviously we have a lot of qualifications rounds to do that. So they get extra experience than in Europe. And then out of this, hopefully, we will have a driver one day then competing within 24 hours of Le Mans or DTM. So that's the overall program. And there's a clear way actually how to develop the drivers. Additionally, obviously some of the drivers, which Frankie, for example, is doing now, he goes to Seefeld quite a lot and is training there to be physically improved, but also I think you're doing a lot of shooting. So also to get the mental part and element trained. So this is the overall program. Concerning the 12-hour race, I think this is always, if you look at the sprint race of the Audi R8 LMS Cup, 35 minutes, so you see a lot of overtaking, and it's really, the pressure is on from the beginning. Endurance racing, 6 hours or 12 hours, obviously the most important part is actually to have a certain continuity to really make sure that the cars are on the track, the cars are driving, and a lot of things can happen during an endurance race. I'm quite positive. The vehicle in general for endurance racing is, you can actually use the R8 LMS Cup vehicle also during endurance racing. It's exactly the same setup, and so I'm quite positive actually for the results.
And maybe we can add that Sun Jin-ju, who is a cup driver, also competes in the Golf 12 hours.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Sorry to take you back to the weights thing in this. It's just that you mentioned 60, 40, 20 kilos. What is the normal variation allowed in between the cars, and how much difference does a full tank of fuel as opposed to what you, strategically put in the make in the entire process, and how much is impacted by using your push to pass button and that?
The push to pass button, depending obviously on the track, and this really is depending on how long you can use it on the straight. On some tracks you have a difference of 10 kilometers approximately additionally. So let's say you have 270, then this would bring it up to 280. That means a push to pass lap difference could be, depending always on the track and how many times you use it, between 1 and 2 seconds. This is kind of like the improvement. The weight addition is the 60, 40 and 20 kilograms. We had one driver, which is Rene Koneberg actually, who was able to have a second place, a third place and second place with 60 kilograms in the car, which shows you that the 60 kilograms you will be still able actually to race also in race 2 and win. So the weight addition is certainly a big element for the drivers, but it's exactly in the way that they will still have the chance actually to win in the next race.
Okay, maybe then two last questions before we change the seating here.
Yeah. Just this thing of pressing the push to pass button 10 times. Does it deactivate after that?
Yeah, most of the drivers, I think they try to push it probably 11 or 12 times, because we also have an additional element of this, so it's deactivated after 10 times, to answer it. We also have an additional element in it that the driver has to do actually a mathematical calculation. This term comes from Alex, because they cannot see clearly how many push to passes are left. So that means during the race, we will see also then, what I said before, at the end, we'll be racing, and then I think, do I have still a push to pass? Do I have to push to pass? And then they're probably starting to overtake and press, and there's no push to pass. Or there is one.
That's why we can't have more than 10. We struggle to count higher than that.
Okay. Gentlemen here.
Excuse me, how is Audi changing choice their drivers? Is country by country, as we do here in UAE, we choose in Saeed al-Mahiri and Khalid al-Khuwaisi, they are the best here, or there is a strategy doing it?
Rene, that's your.
It's mine and Middle East. So the drivers in general, as I said, we look at one part is the driver development program. So we are actively supporting actually young drivers. Then during the Audi R8 LMS Cup, you will see that you have vehicles entering from the Middle East, vehicles entering from Korea, from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, and these are our partners, like Audi partners, and they are deciding actually on the drivers, which they would place into the vehicle, because this is a decision by the team then, who owns the vehicle, that they are saying, okay, we would like to have this driver. Obviously, we have a field of 50% are professional drivers, 50% are gentleman drivers. That's quite a healthy mix. So you will see here actually also two groups that the professionals, some of them are obviously fighting in the front, and then you have the gentleman drivers who are learning quite a lot driving with all these guys here in the second batch of people.
One final question on the weights again.
Okay.
60 kilos. When you add them, can you tell us where they are located and what's the weight distribution on the car, how you do it? And does the driver has a say on it? I want more on the front or on the rear, on the left, on the right, wherever.
You're bringing me into trouble here, because she will say, Rahel said already, oh, that would be nice, that's a good idea, think about it for next year. So the weight is on the passenger, in the passenger area in the middle there. It's mounted to the floor. The driver doesn't have a say where it's distributed, it's constantly there. Obviously you can alter the setup of the vehicle a little bit, but with the weight is fixed and it will be there installed. So there's the drivers cannot choose actually to move it around. Maybe we can make it actually as a movable target, so when they brake the whole weight goes to the front and when they accelerate it goes to the back. No.
Okay, thank you very much. We continue. Thanks to this, ladies and gentlemen, for a lot of answers and information, and especially to the drivers. I wish you a very successful and great race later today, which will actually be our first ever night race in the Cup history. So also a very special thing about Abu Dhabi. Thank you.
Thank you.
And